I was a little girl from the other side of town. I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, two very scorned, independent divorcees who swore, we're gonna give Angela a great education so she'll never have to depend on a man for anything. Well, my poor husband's been paying for the sins of every man for the last 30 years, but he's surviving, so everything's fine. I remember being this 8-year-old girl taking the public transportation to the other side of town, the ritzy side of town. I was the only little black girl in my class, and one day a little girl named Valerie asked me to come over to play. I said, oh no, I can't come to play because I don't have a ride home. My mother works at night. She said, oh, don't worry. My mother will bring you home. So I'll never forget that day, crawling into the back of Valerie's mother's station wagon. And we pulled into her neighborhood. I'd never seen 2-story brick houses in all my life. Every yard was perfectly manicured. There were a row of trees that lined the street like a grove. And I'm not quite sure, but I could have swore I saw flecks of gold in the pavement. And as we pulled into her driveway, I could almost smell the aroma of fresh baked cookies. I went to Valerie's bedroom, and she had carpeting on her floor. She had a canopy bed, and she had every single Barbie doll you could ever imagine. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Well, it wasn't much later I heard this thundering voice from downstairs. Daddy's home! And Valerie jumps up and she runs downstairs, and this leaves me sitting there. So I just kind of sheepishly walk down the stairs, and I sit down and I'm staring through the spindles. And I see Mr. Dunsmore, Valerie's dad, a very attractive white gentleman with a suit and tie. I knew he was very important because he had a tie. And as he swung Valerie around and around and around, about the 3rd or 4th rotation, he made eye contact with me. And he said, well, who do we have here? I said, my name is Angela, and Valerie and I are best friends. Okay, I was dropping names back then. Didn't know I was dropping names, but I was dropping names back then. So he said, come over here, Angela. Come sit down next to me. Come tell me about yourself. I said, I live with my mother and my grandmother, and I'm kind of a weird, wired kid, so the only thing I can think to ask Mr. Dunsmore is, what do you do for a living, Mr. Dunsmore? And he said, well, I'm a businessman. I said, how do you get to be a businessman? He said, well, you can do and be anything you want to be. Just go out every day and be the best you can be. Now, people are going to lie to you and tell you you can't do it. Don't believe them. Go out every day and be the best. Well, something welled up in my spirit that day. I felt every neuron and electron in my body move. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get to school the next day. I used every day as a discipline to be the best I can be. I ended up getting a scholarship to an all-girl private prep school. I was the only black girl in my senior class. I was student council president and class queen. Mr. Dunsmore told me to go out every day and just be the best I can be. I remember Sister Agnes had us write a projection of our life 5 years post-graduation. I knew it like it was the back of my hand. I can touch it, taste it, feel it, smell it. I knew it since I was 8 years old. I was going to be a businesswoman like Mr. Dunsmore is a businessman. I was going to have a 3-story brick house. I was going to have a daughter, and I was going to marry a man like Mr. Dunsmore. And I married my Mr. Dunsmore. Now, I married the chocolate version of Mr. Dunsmore, but I married my Mr. Dunsmore just the same. Mr. Dunsmore gave me something special that day. He gave me a key that opened up my purpose, my passion, my potential for my life. He changed the entire trajectory of my life, even generationally. Never underestimate the power of your influence. A good word, an attaboy, attagirl, I believe in you. He changed my life. And every day we had the same opportunity. So go out every day and give out as many golden keys as you can in your lifetime. Thank you.